Hi everybody. I'm doing a new series on my life story called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I'm doing this mainly to leave a legacy for my daughters to go back on, because I so wish that I had a video or a book or something of especially my grandma's stories and my mother's stories and my grandpa's stories, but all I have is my memory to go on. And so I want to do this. I've tried to do this like 3 times. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time I've tried to write a book, but I got so depressed writing them, trying to write them before, that I just threw them away. But this time I'm going to try to focus more on the good times. There was a lot of bad times and a lot of ugly times. But there were good times. So I am going to try to focus more on that to keep me from getting so depressed about everything. And because it's very hard going through every single memory you have of your whole life. And my birthday will be September 17th, and I'll be 66 years old. So it will take me probably a year. It might even take longer to go through all this and all my pictures and everything. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have any pictures. Well, I don't think I have any pictures for my first year, and that's what I'm doing right now is my first year. I think I have 7 pages on it, okay? So just bear with me. And then I started writing the 2nd chapter, but I'm not done with it. So I might end up putting like 2 or 3 years together instead of, like 1 year at a time for, 66 years. But we'll just see how it goes. I'm really not sure right now. It just depends on my memory and what all I can write down and just remember, right? So, okay, so let's get started. I did draw one picture that I'll show you later because I no longer have the photo. It's a rough sketch. And I apologize for Ceci, my dog in the background, and the cats. They're playing and walking around and everything, so we'll just have to ignore them. But anyway, okay, and I wrote it all down, of course, like I do everything. And I'm going to read it to you, and as I go along, I may be adding notes to this, so in case I do an actual book. And also, all rights and copyrights are reserved on this. You can share it with your social media, and I really hope that you do, so it gets out there, because I think a lot of people would like to hear my story, and also I think it would help a lot of people with different aspects of their life and everything, okay? So, but yeah, you can share it on your social media as much as you want. I just don't want anyone to write the book without me. And if anybody would like to approach me about writing the book, because I am not a writer, I would be willing to talk to them about it. My email is sansiaray@yahoo.com. And it's just like on my YouTube channel, it's Sansiaray, because I had to have a last name. But it's my Indian name, and I'm Arapaho, so part Arapaho. My dad was full-blood Scandinavian, so I'm half Scandinavian and part Arapaho, part German, and just Swedish, okay? I lost my train of thought, sorry. It's been a rough few days because my dog Ceci has ear infection right now. We didn't sleep for 3 days. Last night we slept really good, but we're both still exhausted over going to the vet and all that stuff, It took 7 hours to get her medicine and 2 vets. So it was a long day, and after we hadn't slept for 2 days, it's just been, so just bear with me, because I'm not quite, recovered yet myself. Okay, but I was talking about my dad being Scandinavian, and, my name. It's Sansiaray. Sansiaray. That is my Arapaho name. But on YouTube, I had to have a first and last name. So I'm going by Sansi and then the last name Array. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so here we go. This is the first year of my life, and this will be 1 month to 3 months old. I had a very rough start. I was born with a hole in the main artery of my heart, and all my doctors and nurses called me a blue baby because I would stop breathing all the time. And my grandparents had to rush me to the hospital to resuscitate me on a regular basis until I was around 2 years old. This probably happened 3 or 4 times a week, and sometimes multiple times a day. Okay. My whole body would turn blue. I was born September 17th, 1958. They didn't have heart surgery in Wichita, Kansas, where I was born. We also didn't have internet or any way to find out, but finally my grandparents took me to Children's Mercy Hospital every year for a checkup, and to check my heart and everything, because they had heart specialists there. And I can still go there to this day for a free checkup, but I stopped going when I was around the age of 7 years old, and I've never been back. The doctor said I would never live anyway, so there wasn't much hope. So my grandpa, oh God bless my grandpa, he refused to accept that I was gonna die. So he took a leave of absence from work to care for me. Okay, we're on page 2. And he cared for me around the clock while my grandma continued to work to pay the bills, and she also did all the shopping, cooking, cleaning, etc. My grandpa's job was only to care for me in every way. So I got my mother-daughter bond with him, as he held me day and night only to give me to my grandma so he could shower. Well, at least take a bath, as not sure there were shower heads back then, because we all took baths. I'm not sure why. So I'm just thinking there wasn't showers, but I haven't Googled it, so I don't know. I don't remember seeing a shower head in the shower, but that was like the least of my concerns when I was little, My grandpa was a Mason, and someone he didn't know from another state offered to lay side by side with me to have open heart surgery if it ever came available close to Wichita, Kansas, or anywhere within a 12-hour drive, he said, or so, but it never came available. So my heart, I have had it checked since then once, but I really didn't like the doctor, and I'm not sure I have much faith in him. And he was just real short. He just said, well, your heart looks pretty good if you just quit smoking. And that's all he said. After me doing a 2-day sleep test thing, and I had these monitors all over me and had to sleep with all these wires in this machine. And that's all he said to me. So I just never went back to him either. So I don't know, but I think it kind of grew back itself. I don't think I have a murmur now, or so this doctor said. He said he didn't hear a murmur, but I don't trust this doctor, so I don't know. I probably should have it checked some other time, but Right now I'm doing fine. So when I was about 3 months old, I got staph infection on the top of my head. I had 29 boils. And think of a little baby's head, about the size of a grapefruit. I had 29 boils that were extremely painful and extremely contagious from the hospital. So my grandpa held me while he slept in a recliner. So he ended up getting it on his arm where my head rested in the crook of his arm. You know how you hold a baby and the head is right here. So he got it on his left arm, the staph infection. It was horrible. Or so I heard, I don't remember it, but, okay, we're on page 3. Oh, he held me nonstop because I would scream and cry in pain if he laid me down, on a bed or the couch or anything. I had to have my neck supported to where the boils weren't touching anything. So that's why we slept in a recliner. Then my grandma got it on her nose, of all places, and her nose swelled up so big she had to wear a sling tied to the back of her head. So, these stories, I guess her nose was like out to here. It was horrible, and she had to put this, like a piece of cloth and tie it behind her back. And it was very painful and swollen, as you can imagine, your nose and your sinuses and everything. And, my poor grandma. I feel they both literally willed me to live with their love. They just loved me. They loved me so much, and they just willed me to live. But my grandma thought for sure that I would die, but my grandpa just refused to accept that answer. And he was just going to do anything in his power to make me live. And it makes me a little bit teary right now. I love my grandpa. I slightly remember my grandpa giving me a bottle when I had staph infection because it was so painful. The staph infection was so painful. I remember looking up at him as he held me, and I remember feeling bad and the pain from the boils. I do remember this just slightly, like I remember looking up at him. I remember the bottle, sucking on the bottle and feeling bad. I don't remember it, of course, for a month or whatever. I just have glimpses of it. And I think I remember this because I was in such pain, So I think any kind of trauma, that's how we remember things, right? It's things happening that are really bad or things that happen are really good. And then we can hang on to all the little details, you know what I mean? So I think this is why I remember that, but it's just kind of like one frame in my mind, if that makes sense, if you were watching a movie. I just remember looking up at him and sucking on this bottle. I remember seeing the end of the bottle. And I just remember feeling the love off of him. Like, I just felt love, protected, just everything that you should feel when you're an infant, right? Okay. You're going to have to forgive me if I cry. So, because it's just hard, remembering all these things. Okay, so we lived in a white house across the street from a small zoo, but it was free. And you could go anytime, day or night. I'm sorry, I'd like to apologize for my Tourette's right now too. So when I haven't had enough sleep, then my Tourette's really acts up. But I apologize. I was told on the way home from the hospital right after being born, when we drove by the zoo, my brother said, "Look at the monkeys and duckies, sissy gal." So that was my nickname for years to come. look at the monkeys and duckies, sissy gal. And I was just this little thing, you know. So they called me sissy gal after that for years. My mom had bleeding stomach ulcers when I was born from drinking alcohol. Okay. When she was pregnant with me. Okay, we're on page 4. And that's what caused the hole in my heart. I only remember seeing her a handful of times until I was about 7 years old. Well, probably about 6.5. Well, I'm trying to think now when my sister was born. Oh yeah, I think I was 7 when we moved to California finally, but okay. I never remember her hugging me or giving me any attention back then. I don't remember, I just barely remember seeing her, and I don't remember any like love from her or her, you know, holding me or anything, you know. I just don't remember. I know there are pictures of us taking a bath, me, my brother, and my mom in the tub. But I don't remember it, you know. Like I don't remember taking baths with her. Because I think I was mostly taking baths with my grandpa. And then my grandma would get me out of the tub and dry me, and then he could take the rest of his bath and get out and dry off and get dressed and all that stuff. I just don't think my mom was around much. She was also 17 years old, and she was 15 when she had my brother. And he's from a different father. So we have the same mother, but a different father. And she was still out partying and, you know, living life. So she just didn't want the responsibility of me and my brother. And right now, I don't blame her. You know, if you think back when you're 15 or 17, you just want to have fun with your friends, you know. You wouldn't want to be strapped with a kid, let alone 2 kids, right? So I forgive her for that. And also, you know, there wasn't anything about alcohol, I don't think, and being pregnant back then. Like there is today. You always hear it, you know, and I've heard it since I've had kids. Don't drink alcohol. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs from the doctor or street drugs, you know. When you're pregnant, don't do anything when you're pregnant, right? But I don't think they had those warnings back in 1958 or 1957 when she was pregnant with me. My brother was 2 years older, and she had him when I already said this. She had him when she was 15 years old after running away to Mississippi to marry his alcoholic dad. Then she divorced and married my dad within 2 years. My dad was full-blood Scandinavian, and my mom was Arapaho, plus a little Cherokee, Indian, German, and Swedish. When my parents got married, my grandparents bought them a brand new Cadillac. So my dad thought they were rich and quit his job the same day. A few months later, my grandma saw him in the car with another woman, and she was pissed. So she rammed the back of his car with her Cadillac, you know, and pushed him through the intersection at a red light. Don't mess with my grandma. My grandma was a badass that day, but normally she was very soft-spoken and sweet. She really was, but you just didn't want to piss her off, you know. They divorced shortly after that. My mom worked in a bar. My grandpa was a printer, and my grandma was a linotypist operator and a proofreader at Wichita Eagle and Beacon. We're on page 5 now. Oh, I started writing on the back, I guess. Okay. In Wichita, Kansas. My grandma worked making letters using hot melted lead. She wore sandals in summertime as it was so hot at the newspaper and there wasn't any air conditioning. And one day a container of lead spilled out all over the top of one of her shoes, or slash sandal, her sandal. So they rushed her to the hospital where they had to peel it off her foot along with all the skin. This makes me cringe. So I don't know if you can imagine, melted lead is very thick, you know, like a very thick honey, even thicker than honey, and it poured out on the top of her foot. And she had sandals on. So when they took her to the hospital to get the sandal off, they just had to like rip it off. And all I can hope is that she had pain meds. Oh my God. Well, that wouldn't even do it. You know, you'd have to be like, have anesthesia or something. Oh my God. But I don't think they did. They probably did give her some kind of pain meds and then they just ripped it off. Oh God. I don't remember that because I was so little, but I heard it was awful and extremely painful because I've heard this story over and over throughout my life. And then I wrote, oh Lord, I can only imagine, geez. After that happened, there was a safety rule of closed shoes only. I'm not sure if there was, what is that called? OSHA. Here, let me write this down. Not sure if, I'll need to look this up. That's when OSHA started. Okay. Okay, but anyway, after that happened, there was safety rules of closed shoes only. There was a beauty shop across the street that was oddly open until 3 a.m. So once a week, she would go over there at 1 a.m. to get her hair done. So they worked, what would it be, like 5 in the afternoon until 1 in the morning. So that was normal. Her hair was in short curls her whole life. And I guess all the ladies that she worked with would go over to this beauty shop across the street from the Wichita Eagle and Beacon and get their hair done once a week. So it seems weird, especially back then, and even now, for a beauty shop to be open at 1 in the morning. But that's why, because of the newspaper and all the ladies that worked there. So her hair was in short little curls her whole life. So she always kind of looked older, you know. But I miss my grandparents so very much. They all talked about what a good baby I was when I was little, but it's just because I felt bad. And I didn't have the energy like normal healthy babies or kids, right? I just didn't feel good, so I didn't feel like getting into stuff or doing anything. But they always talked about what a great baby I was, just so good, you know. But I'm sure that's why. Oh no, I messed up my pages. God dang it. Okay, sorry. I remember my first birthday. Nobody could believe I lived one whole year. So we went to see my great grandma. We called her Mamoots in Pratt, Kansas for my first birthday. It was awful. They put a little pink dress on me and the sleeves were way too tight with elastic. So there was elastic right here, you know. And it was so tight. I remember seeing the red line. I mean, it cut off my circulation. It was horrible. And, you know, my arms are pretty big. So it was horrible. It was so uncomfortable and even gave me a phobia of tight clothes and any material that wasn't soft. I also remember my shoes being too tight. my whole life, actually. Because my feet hurt too. So you're going to have to forgive this drawing I did earlier today because I don't have the picture anymore. My sister has all the pictures of the family except a few. I have like a box full. And I'm not speaking to my sister, and I'll tell you about the reason why later on in the series, okay? But I'm going to show you a picture, best that I can remember, of my birthday that day. And I remember standing on this table. So there it is. I'm standing on Mahmoud's coffee table here. I was 1 year old. I could barely stand up because I was still so weak from my heart, problem. And they took a picture of me because I held my dress out like that, like that. And the reason I held my dress out is because it was so damn uncomfortable that I wanted it away from my skin. It was so itchy and rough. It was just horrible. So anyway, this is the best I could do with the drawing for right now. And then at the top, I just wrote, my first birthday at Mahmoud's house. Scratchy lace dress, sleeves way too tight, shoes too tight too. So, yeah. So that's about, that's what I remember. I wish I had that picture, damn it. Because, yeah, it was a cute picture, and I'm holding my little pink dress out, and it looks cute, and I had these little patent leather shoes on. But it was because I was so uncomfortable. I still am very picky and love old worn out clothes because they are comfortable. I really feel like I have a phobia against uncomfortable clothes. My whole life, it gave me trauma, I'd rather have comfort than fashion. I knew it was a celebration for me, but I hated that dress and just wanted to take it off, but couldn't do it myself, and I wasn't talking yet, so all I could do was suffer. They invited all the neighborhood kids over for cake, but I didn't know any of them, so it was even more awkward. They took a picture of me standing on the coffee table, which I just showed you, which I could barely stand because so weak with my heart problem, and pulled one side of the dress away. Sorry, I'm having to go through this again. Away from my leg, and they thought that was cute, but I was just trying to get that scratchy material off my leg. That's why I'm sure, I did this backwards. I'm a little bit dyslexic. Why I remember it like that happening yesterday. Okay. Mahmoud's was a florist, and her flower shop was next to her big white house. So it was kind of attached to her house. She had like a 2-story house with a basement, and then the flower shop was like a greenhouse. And well, it was a greenhouse, but it was gigantic, and she grew all the flowers for the flower shop. And she arranged all of them herself for, weddings, funerals, or, birthdays, Mother's Day, all that, gifts. So it was a big business. And I remember seeing that flower shop, and I remember walking through it too when I was little, because we did go to see her about once a year. So I don't know if I remember it my first year. I haven't thought about it until just now. But anyway, later on, I remember walking through there when I was little, like 2 or 3 years old. Where was I? Okay, so I just remember that dress like it happened yesterday. I really do. And my first birthday. Mahmoud's was a florist in her flower shop next to the White House. She was the only one making money during the Depression because all the soldiers dying and people needed flowers for their funerals. There was a mortuary next door to the flower shop, so it was on, how would you say that? I'm not sure, north, south, west, or east in Pratt. But anyway, it was on the other side of the flower shop. So it was convenient, and maybe where ghosts started getting attracted to me because you're wide open when you're a baby, especially a sick baby. I have had ghosts around me my whole life, and even have one in my home right now as we speak. I do. I started writing the first year outline last night, and it sounded like a heavy box got dropped just a couple feet from me. Oh, okay, I didn't write this last night. I wrote this probably a couple of weeks ago. But while I was writing it, it sounded like a heavy box dropped right there, like 6 feet from me. So that was weird. I don't have a good read on this ghost yet, though, and I still don't. It could be a family member that's passed on or a ghost from work, but not sure yet. But it's a strong spirit because I smudged, told it to leave, but it's still here. So this is a strong ghost that's here now. And it tries to trick me sometimes. Like the other night, well, it was a couple weeks ago, I was sleeping with my dog, and she was on the floor, and I felt her jump into bed. And so I opened my eyes and got up on my elbow to see, and she wasn't there. She was still laying on the floor. So this thing jumped in bed with me, and I don't like that one little bit, not one little bit. But anyway, I don't really know what to do about it right now. Okay, so then I say, hey guys, this is just the first year of life, and I can assure you it hasn't slowed down one little bit. So stay tuned for part 2. This will be a series, so it will be in probably around 67 chapters, maybe less, by the time I'm finished. I'm going to try to do it 1 year at a time, but I don't know if I can stick to that plan. But let me know if you like it so far, and any questions I can answer. And you can put it in the comments, the questions, or you can email me at sansiaray@yahoo.com. Okay? So that is the first year. And I guarantee it does not slow down. Not one little bit. So I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope to see you next time, all right? And please leave a comment on any suggestions as well. And just what you think about it, all right? Okay, guys. I just hope to see you next time, all right? Okay, have a great day. All right, bye-bye. I'm not sure when the next one's going to come out. I just started writing the second chapter, and I got a couple of main events in there, so it's going to be a few pages next time too. All right, and that'll be the second year. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.